everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be sharing an art journal layout, and I wanted to go ahead and do the Take 5 challenge. And these are the items you needed to include on your layout, which would be to use something that's not crafty to make marks on your layout, the color purple, an image from a magazine, colored pencils, and also spray. So I'm going to go ahead and select a page in my Dylusions journal to work on. And the first item I'm going to choose off my list would be an image from a magazine. And I went ahead and grabbed this insert that came with the Daphne's Diary magazine. And I'll go ahead and fussy cut an image out of that page. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab the second item from my list, which would be colored pencils. And today I'm going to be using these watercolor colored pencils from Crayola. I'm just going to scribble those on the background and then blend them together using a wet brush. Now, if you would like a smoother blending and not see those scribbly lines, you will want to gesso your page before adding your colored pencils. And you can see here, I did not gesso my pages before adding them in, so I will see those lines afterwards. But that was fine with me. It just added a little bit more texture to my background, which I'm okay with. So here I'm just going to go ahead and continue blending these out using this wet brush. For the third item, today I'm going to be using a Dylusions spray, and I'm going to be using it along with a circle stencil. Now, all of these items I use on this layout today, I will have listed in my description box along with the exact colors that I used. So here I'm just going to go ahead and place my stencil on the layout, spray through that so you get that lovely circle added to the background. And you'll notice that I have quite a buildup of ink on the top of my stencil right now. So instead of wiping that away, I just went to the page behind it and added it in there. And of course, I will go in and dry this page that I'm adding this to right now. And that will just start creating a new background for a future layout. And I will go ahead and dry this page that I'm working on as well. I also wanted some of that spray towards the edges of my layout. So I'm going to go ahead and spray one side, and I also go ahead and spray the second side because it was not covered as much as I would like it to be. So my background is all completed, and here I'm going to go ahead and adhere the girl to the background using this matte gel medium along with this silicone brush. And here I'm just adding some to the back of the image, and then I'll add some on top as well and give her the quick dry with my heat tool. And then I'll move on to using the fourth and the fifth item on the list. Now the fourth item I'm using would be something that isn't crafty and to make a mark on my layout, and I'm going to be using a bunch of Q-tips for that item. And here I'm just going to band them together using some washi. And the fifth item on the list, which I have not used yet, would be purple. And I'm going to pull out some purple acrylic paint. I'm going to be using that along with the Q-tips to add here onto my girl. And I am going to be following at first the basic outline of the hair that she has on her right now, but you'll see later on I just went ahead and added here as I felt it was needed, that I liked, and it definitely was a lot more than you see right now that she has on there. So here I'm going to begin with the lighter color, And then I'm gonna add in the deep purple next, and you'll see once they mix together I get sort of an indigo blue color, but you definitely see little specks of this light blue that I'm adding on right now, and you definitely see the purple as well. So here you'll see I do give it a really quick dry in between these two colors, and I am applying that acrylic paint with a pouncing technique, not swiping it at all, and that way I get the texture from the Q-tips on my image. And here, as you can see, I add that purple in, and certain areas you do see that really deep indigo blue coming out. Next up, I will go ahead and add some of this purple paint on the edges of my layout. And that way I bring in a little bit more purple to the background. And to apply that paint, I am just going to be using my wet paintbrush. With my background having that watercolor effect already, I really wanted to achieve that as well, adding in this purple all around my layout, and that's why I went ahead and added so much water to that acrylic paint, and I think it looks really well together. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add a bit of peachy acrylic paint to her face and her body using my fingers, and I'm also adding in some color to her shirt. And you'll see I go in with a bit of that blue, and it tones it down, that red down just a tiny bit. And I do blot it up with some paper towel just to have it fade into the background, not stand out too much. So I decided I wanted some gold highlights on my layout, so I'm gonna use some gold acrylic paint and use the Q-tips to add it to her hair. Then I'll use some of that paint using my fingers through a stencil and add it to different areas on the edge of my layout. Next, I'll go ahead and add this gold paint to the entire edge of the layout as well using my fingers, and it look a bit messy right now, but it all comes together in the end once I'm done adding layers on the edge. So here I am going to be adding in my title, and for my title I am going to be using two different alphas. I combine two different alphas, and I do go in with some matte gel medium just to seal it in so that way they won't be falling off my layout. Now you'll notice that once I start adding in this matte gel medium, it looks really shiny, but once it dries, it disappears into the background and it dries matte, so you will not be seeing that shine on that title. So here I'm just going to darken up the edges using this charcoal pencil with a wet paintbrush. And my focal point, I do add a bit to her later on, but for now she's standing out on her own, and I just wanted to add a bit more detail to the edges of my layout. So I'm pulling in some stencil paste, some gold stencil paste from Bo Bunny, and I do have that gold acrylic paint already on there, but I wanted something a little bit more shiny just to stand out a bit more on the edges. So I really love this stencil and I love what it added to the edges. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that all around my layout, quite a bit of it actually, all on the front of her shirt. And then I'll go in with a Q-tip once again and just add highlights of that gold paste on her hair. Next, to add a bit of contrast to this page, I'm going to add in some black splatters using black in the ink. And you'll see I get some really big splotches on there. And I'll also add some white acrylic ink splatters as well. And the white does not stand out really well. It does not stand out a lot at all, but I think it added a nice addition to the background. And you can see it once you're looking at my layout, you can definitely see it on there, but it does not stand out against everything else going on this page. So I went ahead and added in some texture paste to the edges. I felt it needed something more, but I did not like how it looks, so I'm using a wet baby wipes right now to smear it on the edges, and it also smeared the black ink splatters, which I really love how it ended up looking. It added a lot of contrast, smearing out all of those ink splatters, and I think it made a huge difference in bringing this layout all together. So here I'm just giving it a really quick dry. I'm also going to extend her hair out just a tiny bit because some of it was covered up in that lower left corner. And I also brought her hair down to the front of her shirt, as you can see here. So I'm just adding in all of those colors once again, just to extend her hair out. And I hope you guys enjoyed this process today. I really love how this turned out. And I would like to know what you think about it down in the comments below. So be sure to let me know. And as I said before, I will have all of the items I used today in my description box. So here's a close-up look at my completed layout. And I love the different colors on her hair that is peeking through. Combining those two colors along with the gold. And I love the edges as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this layout. Be sure to give me a thumbs up before you leave if you did. And if you're new to my channel, take a look around. If you like what you see, I hope you consider subscribing today as well. So I want to thank you all for watching. Until my next video. Bye.